Welcome to another Sisters Saga episode. Today we're going to talk about timidity and boldness. Maria, are you ready to go through the judgment?
Yes.
If you're unsure of a course of action, do not attempt it. Your doubts and hesitations will infect your execution. Timidity is dangerous. Better to enter with boldness. Any mistakes you commit through audacity are easily corrected with more audacity. Everyone admires the bold, no one honors the timid. So, Maria, what's the difference between hesitation and boldness?
Yes, so hesitation puts obstacles in your path, whereas boldness eliminates them. So let's see what it means with a couple of points. So people can sense the weakness in others, and when they can sense this, they can really push you to places where you don't want to be. So try not to be seen as the defensive, as the person who is really willing to negotiate, because then you're just gonna be sent all over the place and you won't be in the direction you want to be. Like, you're gonna be a pushover. As Rachel says.
Friends reference.
Yes, friends reference. The other thing is that when you want to do a new thing, take a different path into the actions you want to take, just enter with confidence. Because if you enter with timidity or you hesitate about your steps, then it's just gonna, in the first challenge, in the first problem, you're gonna stop and start thinking that you did the wrong choice, and that will create more problems for you, because then start thinking and questioning yourself. And the last one is that if you seem that you hesitate, this means that you give space for the others to think as well, maybe why you are hesitating, but also give them space to think and understand what is happening. So the moment you give them space to think, then they can take over from you, or they can come up with a different way of orchestrating things, let's say. So the thing is, be bold, be confident, and don't leave a lot of room for hesitation or second thoughts. So, Angeliki, what does the history tell us?
So the first example comes from France, from the 20th century. We have many scrap metal businessmen being invited to like a hidden formal meeting in one of the most luxurious hotels in France. And the invitation came from the general director himself. So they all gathered, they had the meeting, and the director was called Lustig. Lustig said to all the businessmen that the government wants to technically demolish the Eiffel Tower. So the company that offers the most money and the highest bid will have the ownership of the Eiffel Tower. After that, he gave them 4 days to make an offer. Monsieur B gave the highest bid, so he got the ownership of Eiffel Tower. But after the days were passing, he didn't receive any confirmation from the government, so he started hesitating. Then he had, however, another meeting with Lustig, and Lustig started complaining about his salary, about the job expectations. So Monsieur P understood that he needed a bribe, because that was something common among the politicians. So he gave him a bribe. After that, no government letter came, and actually, obviously, everything was a scam. Lustig was never a general director. There was no plan of giving and demolishing the Eiffel Tower, so everything was a scam.
And this is the point he realized that he has been completely scammed. And paid a lot of money for this. So did he go to the police, though?
It's interesting that he didn't, because he knew that if this comes out, it's a completely something that it will destroy his business and ridicule him. So he didn't say a thing.
Interesting. And then what happened after? Did this Victor Lustig play the same trick again?
It's so interesting that he played exactly the same trick and scam about the Eiffel Tower, and then he received actually a higher bid than the bid before. So that's so fascinating. Yes, it's mental. Yeah.
So what are we learning?
So if you want to make a bold act, or if you want to have to say a lie, make it as large and as impossible and as extravagant as possible, because people would think, this cannot be a scam. Look how big it is.
It's too crazy to be a
scam. They would never believe that this is a scam. So make the bold action, but as impossible as impossible as possible.
And then if if you see the other person start and realizing that's a scam, then go bigger.
Yeah,
Ask for more.
ask for
money,
more. Ask for a bribe. Exactly.
Interesting.
So, Maria, for the second example, who is Hanno?
So we are now in the 1514 in Rome, and we have Pietro Artetino, who is just a guy who is working as an assistant in a Roman family, but his passion is to be a writer. And of course, he's in that sense no one. And in order for him to be a famous writer, he has a lot of things, a lot of work to do. So what happens is that Pope Leo X receives a really amazing gift from the King of Portugal, which was an elephant called Hanno. Now, what happened is that the Pope loved this elephant so much, but after a point, the elephant got sick, and then it died. So the Pope was really, really, really sad, and in order to kind of summon him, he asked the Raphael, the painter, to actually create a life-size painting of Hanno. And then there was this inscription of what nature took away, Raphael has with his art restored. Now, what happened is that the Pope showed his emotions and his weakness like in the next level. And people noticed, and this is what Pietro Artetino also noticed. And he wrote a pamphlet about it, like a kind of sarcastic pamphlet about all the different people in power, one of whom was the Pope. So when this anonymous pamphlet went out, everyone was trying to see, what is this about? It was a huge success. And then at the end, the pamphlet ended with this. So see to it that Arentino is your friend, for he is a bad enemy to have. His words alone could ruin the High Pope, so God guard everyone from his tongue. He actually got famous so much that even Pope loved his audacity, and he took him out in his guard, like in the papal service. So then he became known as the Swords of Princes, and even, the King of France was kind of being careful around him, what he's saying and what he's writing about him.
So what's the message, Maria?
So the message is, if you want to be seen and heard, but you are kind of a little bit lower in the hierarchy, let's say, of things, you have to do a bold move, but do it with grace and with humor.
So Maria, what are the keys to power?
So the keys to power in this chapter is about timidity versus boldness, as we said in the beginning. And usually we are more comfortable with timidity. And why, if you're asking why, it's because we really want to avoid conflict. We want to be liked by everybody, and we really want to get away from situations that will make us feel uncomfortable. So we're feeling uncomfortable having the uncomfortable conversation.
Yes.
And that is actually the issue, because timidity is really self-absorbing, whereas boldness, on the other hand, we're kind of actually showing a little bit of ourselves out there in the world. And this actually makes people feel more comfortable around us, because they can see that we are genuine, they can see where we're coming from. Whereas with timidity, we are really hiding ourselves and trying to be what other people think they want from us. And that's the thing. So what about timidity, though, being a habit versus boldness?
So apparently both of them are habits, are actually acquired habits. And because we have brought up being very timid and always value timidity as something that we need to do and we need to follow, we find it very strange and very uncomfortable to act with boldness. However, if timidity is something learned, boldness is also something learned. So you need to practice it.
Excellent. And what is the best place to practice being more bold?
I think in a salary negotiation at work, sometimes we really undervalue ourselves, we procrastinate ourselves, and we ask less money than we deserve. So I think that's the first time that you need to practice boldness and ask for more and what you actually worth.